Welcome to EGH British Cars. Today we're going to do a tool review. It's the 18-inch Bending.Brake by Central Machinery, purchased from Harbor Freight, which I picked up recently. So this is it. It's item number 39103. It's supposed to do an 18-inch wide piece of sheet metal up to 16 gauge. And I've mounted it on this workhorse type of table, which I believe came from Harbor Freight as well. It has these 4 attachment points, which I've drilled down through the table. As you can see, the bolt spacing made it so that it could catch the edge of the steel brackets that hold the wood onto the top of the table. So it makes it nice and stable. The tool comes with the actual brake, the 2 handles, and it also has this clamping bar. You have to supply your own clamps, and one modification I made, I drilled and tapped a hole right here to put a set screw in just to hold these on tight because they were just sitting in the hole. So we thought we'd do a little test piece to show you how it works. So this is fairly heavy gauge steel, sheet metal. So normally you would put a couple of marks on here just to have a straight line. I'm not going to bother to do that because this is not for anything in particular. You put this bar on so it's flush with the line of the where the piece rotates through. You'd put our clamps on. And let's stay just a shade off the line to allow for the space of the sheet metal. And these want to be fairly tight without being crazy. So let me show you this gap. All right, you can see there's about 1/16 or so of an inch from the edge of this steel to the line, which is where this anvil bends. So let's go ahead and bend it up. So it's in tight. What I usually have to do is just put my foot through and rest on the back of the cross piece, and then I just pull back towards myself. Boy, this really is a heavy piece of metal. And there we go. Release the clamps, take the piece out, and you can see that's done just about a perfect 90. It's got a slightly radiused edge. So I was just curious, this is my sheet metal gauge, and it's slightly thicker than 16 gauge, but it's not quite 18 gauge, so God only knows what the heck it is. It's just up on a head laying around under the bench. So it's actually technically a bit thicker than we were supposed to use, and this is about an 8-inch piece. I did a couple of other pieces of sheet metal full width the other day, and that may have been 18 gauge, I believe, and it was firm, but it folded them quite nicely. So here are some of the other pieces I did the other day. I believe these are 18 gauge, and they're about 16 inches long. They're just a little shorter than the total width. You can see it put a pretty good bend in them with a bit of a radius. And I also did a couple of shorter pieces right here. And I did, when I clamped these down, the flange is so narrow, I had the clamp bar at a bit of an angle facing up, which is part of the reason why the radius is so round. You know, for the price, I think I just checked this morning, it was like just under $50 on the Harbor Freight website, which is significantly less expensive than a 36-inch wide floor mounted, which would be really nice to have, but I haven't got the space for it. And with my TR2 project, I really don't have any need to anything wider than that. I have 1 or 2 pieces that'll be longer than 18 inches, but I can just do them in 2 halves and mold them together after. And I have the convenience and the portability of having this on the workhorse. So I'm really pretty happy with it. It's certainly way easier than using 2 pieces of angle iron in your vise and a hammer, which is what I've done in the past. $50 as opposed to $300 and some odd dollars for a really nice one, and admittedly a $300 brake could be much nicer than this one, but this works quite nicely, so I'll be happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you next time.